thank each and every one of you for that. Subscribing, liking, commenting, it's all wonderful and good. The other thing that's happening is I'm getting more and more emails and comments and articles from you all. And I got a couple of today that I've gotten, I've gotten similar versions of. And so I thought I would just kind of dive in, spent the last hour or so reading up on them, and I thought I would share them with you. One of the topics, actually, the second one we will talk about is granny units or in law units. The California legislation basically just said one of the things we are going to do is supersede local requirements and allow single family homeowners to build in law units. There are some requirements, setback rules and things of that nature, but in general, it should help. But we'll dive into that in a minute. The first one I want to talk about is something that I read that I had to put down and think about for a while. Uh, if you want to check it out, go to ZeroDowncom. This is a technology slash mortgage company, I guess, that is essentially working with buyers in the San Francisco area, at least currently. They're going to expand out, but the examples they have are the Bay Area. Their minimum purchase for this zero down is a $500,000. But let me explain what it is. Essentially, what you can do is if you are in the Bay Area, this high price market, and you've been outbid, you can't find something, you don't have the down payment, assuming you can go to them and get qualified, what you'll then be able to do is identify a house that you would like to buy. Zero Down will then go make a cash offer. Assuming they get it, they will let you move in, basically signing a lease. And as you would expect, they were very careful not to call this lease back. They were very careful not to call it all kinds of things. But in general, what you'll be able to do is you will be moving into that property. You will have a minimum of 2 years. That was their minimum. It goes up to 5 years. And essentially, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be paying rent. I would call it a lease. And you're going to be paying, let's just call it substantially more than normal rent payments. But that is because what you're doing is you're building what they call purchase credits. So let me give you some examples right off their website. Again, ZeroDown.com if you want to check it out. They gave an example of a San Francisco based house at $1.2 million. Your payment in their model would be $8,040. For a 650K house, your payment would be $4,355. They do have a couple of different programs that have fees. Basically, if you get approved, you got to either cut them a 10K check or a 15K check based on which program you are interested in. And then what you're doing is essentially you're building up these rent credits at a quarter point a month, I guess. Yeah, a quarter point a month. Yeah, that makes sense. So over the course of 2 years, you would have built up purchase credits for about 6% of that home. And after 5 years, you would have built up purchase credits of 15%, which will give you the ability to have a down payment and go get a mortgage and cash out zero down. Um, this is interesting. It's I wonder how big a spread that is between what normal rent, on that 650 house or that $1.2 million house, because it feels like a big whack. But I guess, that's if you want to own a home and you found the home you want to be in and you can't and you don't have the down payment and you're competing with other buyers, going this route makes total sense. I think what Zero Down has brought to the table is something that will help a lot of people. And again, when you're doing this, you're doing it on purpose because you want that home and you don't want to move. So you should be willing to pay 50% more, 60% more, because it's probably not rent to you. It's probably rent plus savings, because that's essentially what you're doing is you're saving a quarter point every month of the house value. So it's a very interesting model, and I wonder how that spreads to other locales with smaller, average purchase price, right? Again, they're in San Francisco. What I read is they have a $500,000 minimum in the Bay Area. So I thought it was pretty interesting. It did talk about, hey, after 5 years, if you decide you don't want to buy it, or life events happen, you can sell it and you'll get back some of the value that you created. They said a roughly 50% minus transaction fees. So you do get some of that back. You will not get it all back, obviously. Um, but I think it's a pretty interesting idea, right? What do you think, right? Again, go to ZeroDown.com. They obviously want to make sure the buyer is credit worthy and the like. Then they will actually buy it for you and then create a lease payment for, again, a minimum of 2 years. They were very clear on that, up to 5, that allows you to save and ultimately cash them out. So it's a pretty interesting business model, one that I'm going to follow. And you could see how this would be interesting. Part of me thinks, I should go talk to some builders and see if we can't implement a model like that, and then play with the spread. But it's just a very interesting business model that they've done and others have done. So that's ZeroDown.com. The other one I want to talk about is granny units. A friend and subscriber of this channel sent this to me out of the East Bay Journal, I think it was. I didn't write that down. Oh, East Bay Times. East Bay Times. That's what it was. Talking about what we were going to do with granny units. They were worried about parking and traffic and all of that. I would tell you, you're thinking about the wrong things. We have an affordability problem. We need more places that are reasonably priced for people to live. We are we are racing towards a return that we can't get back from when we lose the middle class and they just exit the state. Um, we need more affordable housing. In the article, somebody said there's no silver bullet. I disagree. I think creating more affordable housing, such as granny units, is a huge step in the right direction. I'm on record on this channel saying that I think the silver bullet is to create mass transportation, because we have lots of places in California that if you had high speed train that you could get to within an hour, right, take you from somewhere a couple hundred miles away, move you to the Bay Area and back. And frankly, the Bay Area housing market would collapse because so many people would leave. Why would you live in this ridiculous place at these prices when you're a 45-minute train ride away from a bigger house at a quarter of the price? There is a silver bullet. Get out of your own way, stop the not in my backyard things, and let's build a high speed rail that gets people, because we have lots of land in California. We only have very small areas of high jobs. So let's make it cheaper for folks to commute in, because these 3 hour traffic on the freeway, car rides both ways, is unhealthy and not okay, right? The Bay Area is very soon going to enter a tipping point where if we don't fix affordable housing, we don't have true mass transportation. Um, the Bay Area won't be the Bay Area that I grew up in. What we see now today could prove to be the peak, and it's downhill from here. We do have time to fix it, but I don't see anybody doing it. So it'll be interesting. So in the end, I think Zero Down is a very interesting concept. Check them out, ZeroDown.com. I think ADUs are a huge part of affordable housing and will be very, very helpful. It is, I don't know, how should I say this? Perhaps one of the best legislation pieces I have seen come out of California government, frankly, any federal or state government, in a long, long time. I think it had to be done. There's obviously some things we'll have to work out as we go through this, but the fact that we can now encourage the creation of granny or in-law units to help offset mortgage costs, because maybe you want to choose to rent them, or just have a place for somebody to, maybe an older parent moves to the back and they rent out the big house. There's so many ways where an ADU, accessory dwelling unit, is going to prove helpful, that I think it's going to be interesting. But again, if you really want to fix affordable housing in California or in the Bay Area, you have to make mass transportation easier and cheaper. These 3 hour commutes in cars are ridiculous, and we need to be able to move people 45 minutes, from, I don't know, south of Gilroy to the Bay Area and back, and a high-speed train would be awesome at that. So in the end, I want to thank all of my followers for sending me articles. I love all this stuff. I love reading about it, talking about it. And again, if you have questions, leave them below, and I will create a subscriber questions video. Have a wonderful day. Take care.